Calm, curious, slightly whimsical deep male voice. Have you ever stopped to consider what you're smelling? Right now, we exist within an invisible ocean of scent, a constant symphony of molecules that we mostly ignore. But what if you didn't? What if your job, your very livelihood, depended on decoding this silent language? For a select group of people, it does. They are the professional noses, the olfactory sentinels of our world. And their story is far more complex and, frankly, more bizarre than you might imagine. How does one even begin a career in smelling? It's not a path you stumble upon. It's a discipline you cultivate with monastic dedication. Aspiring noses don't just have a good sense of smell. They learn to speak its language. The journey often starts at specialized schools, like the Givaudan Perfumery School in France, where candidates are rigorously screened. They must first prove they possess a baseline olfactory acuity, the raw talent. From there, the real training begins. It's a process of deconstruction and reconstruction, learning to identify hundreds, then thousands of individual scent molecules. They memorize the sharp, citrusy zing of citral, the earthy, damp cellar note of geosmin, and the creamy, almond-like whisper of heliotropin, not as mere smells, but as individual letters in an expansive alphabet. This isn't just sniffing, it's an intense, academic pursuit, blending chemistry with sensory art. Once trained, their daily routine is a gauntlet of sensory trials. Picture this, a quiet, sterile room, free from any distracting odors. The only tools are a series of small, white paper strips, or mulettes, and a glass of water to cleanse the palate, or in this case, the nostrils. A professional nose might spend their mornings smelling hundreds of these strips, each dipped in an unknown substance. It's almost always a blind test. They aren't told what they're smelling. Is this a new synthetic compound for a laundry detergent, or a subtle variation of a rose absolute for a luxury perfume? They must identify the core notes, the subtle undertones, and any off notes or imperfections. Their focus must be absolute. This isn't a passive act of inhaling. It's an active, analytical process, a form of intense meditation where the only mantra is the molecule itself. To understand how they do this, we need to look at our own built-in smell organ. It's not just the fleshy protuberance on our face. When you inhale, odor molecules travel up your nasal cavity and bind to millions of specialized olfactory receptor neurons. This is where the magic, or rather, the science, begins. Each receptor is a specialist, designed to recognize a specific type of molecule. When a molecule docks with its corresponding receptor, it sends an electrical signal hurtling along the olfactory nerve, straight to the olfactory bulb, a structure at the very front of your brain. This bulb is the brain's primary scent processing center, and it has a direct, high-speed connection to the limbic system, the ancient part of our brain governing emotion and memory. This is why a single whiff of a specific smell can instantly transport you back to your grandmother's kitchen or a childhood vacation. The nose and the brain aren't two separate entities, they are a single, deeply integrated sensory system. This unique neural architecture is what makes professional smell testers so valuable. Across a surprising array of industries, we immediately think of the perfumer, the romantic figure artfully blending rare essences to create the next iconic fragrance. But the reality is far broader. Major food companies employ flavorists who are essentially smell and taste experts to ensure that your strawberry-flavored yogurt actually tastes and smells like a strawberry, and not some vague, chemical approximation. Then there are the truly unexpected roles. Major car manufacturers hire teams of smell engineers, whose sole job is to curate the new car smell. They meticulously test every single material, from the leather on the seats to the plastic on the dashboard and the glue holding it all together, ensuring they combine to create a pleasant, premium, and non-toxic aroma. It's a carefully composed olfactory signature. Even NASA has a dedicated smell panel. Before any item is cleared to go to space, it must be sniffed by a team at the Johnson Space Center's White Sands Test Facility. In the sealed environment of the International Space Station, a noxious or unpleasant odor can be more than just an annoyance. It can be a debilitating distraction. So, yes, there are people whose job it is to smell astronauts' food equipment, and even their clothes, all for the sake of science and safety. So, how do they talk about what they smell? With thousands of potential odors, saying something smells nice is useless. They need a precise, shared vocabulary. To achieve this, they use tools like the scent wheel, a diagram that breaks down smells into families and subfamilies. Is it floral? If so, is it a white floral like jasmine, or a powdery floral like iris? Is it fruity? If so, is it citrus, berry, or tropical? Beyond these broad categories, they use a rich tapestry of metaphorical and synesthetic language. A scent can be described as sharp, round, loud, quiet, green, cold, or warm. They might note the texture of a smell. Is it velvety, scratchy, or smooth? They document these impressions with meticulous notes, rating intensity on a numerical scale and describing the scent's evolution over time, from the initial top notes to the lingering base notes. They aren't just smelling, they are writing a biography for each and every odor. To manage this colossal library of sensory data, many noses rely on a powerful mnemonic device known as the memory palace. This ancient technique, also called the method of loci, involves creating a detailed, imaginary location in your mind: a house, a palace, a city street. You then mentally place the things you want to remember in specific locations within the space. For a professional smeller, each room or object in their palace becomes associated with a particular scent. The sharp, pine-like smell of turpentine might be mentally stored in the garage, next to a can of paint. The warm, comforting scent of vanilla could be placed in the kitchen, near a cookie jar. The complex, leathery smell of a fine Bordeaux might be in the study, on a leather-bound book. When they encounter an unknown smell, they mentally walk through their palace until they find the matching sensory memory. This allows them to not just recognize the smell, but to instantly recall its name, its chemical components, and its common associations with near-perfect accuracy. The real-world applications of this training are fascinating. Consider the people who work for IKEA. The company has a dedicated team that smells its furniture, especially products like sofas and mattresses, to ensure they don't have an overly strong or unpleasant chemical odor. When a customer unboxes them, it's part of their quality control. The new car smell engineers at companies like Ford or Audi don't just eliminate bad smells, they actively compose good ones. They have a library of desirable scents and work with material suppliers to achieve a specific, brand-consistent olfactory profile. Then there are the sommeliers and coffee cuppers, whose trained palates and noses can detect the subtlest nuances in a beverage. They can tell you not just the grape or bean variety, but the region it was grown in, the soil composition, and even the weather during its growing season, all from the arrangement of molecules that reach their nose. This extreme level of training fundamentally rewires their brain. While most of us can recognize a few hundred distinct smells, a master perfumer or an experienced flavorist develops a smell memory bank of over 10,000 unique odors. This isn't because they have a superhuman nose, it's because they have a superhuman memory for smells. Built through years of focused practice and techniques like the memory palace, their brain has created more and stronger neural pathways connecting the olfactory bulb to the hippocampus and cortex. They have, in essence, built a high-resolution map of the chemical world inside their own mind, one that is vastly more detailed than that of the average person. But this extraordinary ability comes with its own set of risks. The greatest fear for a professional nose is anosmia, the complete or partial loss of the sense of smell. A common cold can be a professional crisis, and a head injury can be a career-ending event. There's also the constant threat of olfactory fatigue, or burnout. Smelling intense chemicals day after day can temporarily dull the senses, requiring them to take breaks in a scent-neutral environment to reset their nose. Over time, constant exposure to high concentrations of certain volatile compounds can even pose long-term health risks. They're athletes of the senses, and just like any elite athlete, they are constantly walking a fine line between peak performance and debilitating injury. Their greatest tool is also their greatest vulnerability. So, the next time you open a bottle of perfume, sip a glass of wine, or even sit in a new car, take a moment. Inhale. What you are experiencing is not an accident. It is the result of a hidden world of sensory experts, of dedicated individuals who have trained their minds to navigate the vast, invisible architecture of smell that surrounds us all. They are the curators of our scented world, the ghostwriters of our olfactory memories, and they remind us that sometimes the most profound secrets are the ones that are hiding in plain air.